class regarding to the need of wrapper classes in Java. The main purpose of wrapper class is to convert primitive data type in the objects here. Here actually the Java is not purely object-oriented programming language. Why? Because sometimes the code will not be depending on the objects here. Okay? They are directly providing some primitive data types out there. Here that's why they are introducing a concept. That concept is called as the wrapper classes here. In the case of the wrapper classes point of view, we are converting the to convert the primitive data types into the objects here. Here it contains the two concepts, internal concept, the auto boxing and the auto unboxing is there. Here auto boxing is nothing but the process of converting primitive values into the object of corresponding wrapper class here. To convert the primitive values into the objects of the corresponding wrapper class, corresponding data type here at the time, that is called as auto boxing here. Unboxing is nothing but the reverse process. The process of converting object of wrapper type to its corresponding primitive types here. When we are converting the object of the wrapper types into the corresponding primitive types of the type, that concept is called as unboxing here. In the case of the auto boxing point of view, primitive values are converted in the objects here. But in the case of the unboxing point of view, objects are converted into the primitive data types here. Right. See the table here. I draw a simple table here. Primitive type and the wrapper class. Primitive type and the wrapper class here. If the primitive type is the boolean and the corresponding wrapper class is the boolean class here. If the primitive type is the byte here, the corresponding wrapper class is the byte here. If the primitive type is the char, wrapper class is the character. If the primitive type is the float and the corresponding wrapper class is the float, float. If the primitive is int here, the corresponding wrapper class is the integer. If the primitive is a long here, the corresponding wrapper class is the long. If the primitive is a short, the corresponding wrapper class is the short. If the primitive is a double, corresponding wrapper class is a double here. If we observe all the wrapper classes, the beginning letter is a capital letter here. Boolean point of view, byte point of view, character point of view, float point of view, integer, long, short, and the double here. Why? Because in the Java point of view, always the class name begins with the capital letter. Come this one here, I give the simple examples here. See this code here, integer num equals to 7. Okay. Here the num is a normal variable and here int is a primitive data type here. Means here the num is a primitive data type variable here. Here in this point of view, the int is called as a primitive data type here. And the num value is 7 here. Next, integer num1 equals to. Here the integer is a wrapper class. For this wrapper class, there is object. The object name is a num1 here. Num1 equals to num. Here num is a actual variable. The value is stored in the object here. The value stored in the corresponding class object here. This is the object of the integer class. In the num1, we are storing the num value here. This concept is called as the auto boxing here. Auto boxing is nothing but converting primitive value to the object. Here this is the primitive value. Num is a primitive value. This value is converted to the num1 here. This concept is called as the auto boxing. Let's come this one here. Int num2 equals to. Here num2 is a normal variable. Num1 dot int value. Here num1 is a object variable of the integer class int value. By using this object, we are getting the value by using the int value here. Now this value is stored in the num2 here. System.out.println num2. We are getting the answer as 7 here. Whenever we are converting the object into the primitive type, that is called as the unboxing. That concept is called as the unboxing here. Right, come to this one here. I wrote the same code here. Integer num equals 7. The number value is 7 here. The num is a here num is a normal variable which is of type primitive data type here. Next, integer num1. Num1 is a class object here, wrapper class object. Integer is a wrapper class and the num1 is a wrapper class object. In this object, we are storing the num value. This concept is called as the auto boxing here. is automatically it is doing the operation here. Next, come this one here. I am doing the auto unboxing also. In the previous case, I wrote the only unboxing only. In this point, I wrote the auto unboxing here. Auto unboxing nothing but we are converting the object value into the primitive data value or the time. Automatic conversion is there. Automatically, we are converting the wrapper class object value into the normal reference variable value. Okay. That concept is called as auto unboxing. System.out.println num2. What is num2 value? The num2 value becomes as a 7 here. The 7 will be displayed. Means the wrapper class's main duty is to convert primitive data types into the objects here. To convert the primitive data as object here. It contains two concepts, auto boxing and the unboxing. Auto boxing is the process of converting primitive value to the objects of the corresponding wrapper class here. Unboxing is the opposite manner. Unboxing is a process of converting object of wrapper type into the corresponding primitive values here.